Okay, today we're having a very interesting show. We have a very interesting guest on our hands. I'll not spoil the party for you in trying to explain what he's all about, because we are going to find out from the man himself. He's everything you must have in your team, everything that you ever wish for in order to make it to the big stage, whether an academy or a pro side. So, Coach, I want you to introduce yourself.
Hello. Thanks for welcoming me here, first of all, here in Livingstone. I think it's been great having a walk around the town. Yeah, for everybody listening, my name's Mutale Mbebeta, famously known as a super coach by Zambian football faithfuls. But yeah, I'm right here in Livingstone, and I'm just here to watch a game of football and have fun and just learn about the culture of Livingstone football, learn about the culture of the Livingstone people as well.
Yeah, you've started coaching at some would say a young age, and people like out there would say, why start coaching at a very young age? People think coaching is for gray-haired people, those who've played the national team, those retired football players. But what made you to want to start coaching?
What made me first of all to want to start coaching was my love for football. I think that's the most important thing in my world. First of all, is because growing up, from a child, I went through a lot of adversity because my mom and my dad separated at a really young age, and amongst the chaos, the only thing that I had by my side was football. So every time I would, turn on the channel, see the Premier League, the games, Thierry Henry, Paul Scholes, those were the people that made me love the game. And whenever I watched the game, I just felt like time stopped, and that's how I feel like till today. It's the only place where everything in the world just stops and I just focus and enjoy myself.
Yeah, talking about focus and being a young coach, do you feel right now where we are, 2021, we've had great coaches in the past in the Zambian league and Africa at large, but do you feel Zambia as a nation, as a footballing nation, do you feel that Zambia is ready to bring in young coaches upstream, taking as well the fact that we don't have a coaching school in Zambia? Is the Zambian environment conducive to welcome young coaches into the football fraternity?
To be honest, I don't really think so. I don't really think a lot of people really want to embrace new ideas. I think there are a lot of brilliant young coaches in the Zambian game, both older and younger than me. But the problem is people do not believe in innovative ideas, because the main essence of being a coach, just like you asked in the previous question, it doesn't matter what club you played for, who you played for, who you are. If you've got the interest in the game, you've got the passion, you work hard, you read your books, you come up with innovative ideas, you can be a great coach. But the problem is nobody wants to embrace people with innovative ideas. And that's the difference between us and people in Europe, is because in Europe people embrace innovative ideas. Sir Bobby Robson gave Jose Mourinho his first chance. Pep Guardiola was given his first chance in football at Barcelona. Julian Nagelsmann, Klopp at Mainz as well. So all these people had somebody that took a gamble on them. But unfortunately in Zambian football, a lot of people are consecutive, and it's nobody really wants to give you a chance because they believe in a certain way, they believe in a certain style, and that's a disadvantage for a young coach or somebody that wants to become a coach out there.
Talking about style, firstly, there has been a lot of calls online where most people believe that the quality of the football in our country has dropped. Do you think it has to do with the fact that there is a generational gap between right now and the football that everyone wants to watch, and also it's affecting the numbers turning out to watch the Zambian Super League by the fans?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that we need to understand is philosophy. I think our coaches that played back then, most of the coaches in the Zambian league, you notice, are above the age of 50. These are the people that played in the 80s, in the 90s, some of them even in the 70s. So these are people that were coached by people that had certain ideas. And when you are coming up as somebody that is young, you develop your own style based on, the people that were there before you. So their style of the game is something that they got in the 70s. And since you can only have one footballing philosophy, this is what they apply. So this is why most of our tactics are negative and defensive, is because way back it was the type of football that most of the coaches that came to the country of Zambia played.
Most people think football is just for fun. Most people think football is for failures. Coaching is what? It's a waste of time. But you are one of maybe a new breed of where they take up football as well as studying for something else is important. How has it helped you to have a bachelor's in your career as a coach? How is it affecting your life as coaching? How you see things differently?
First of all, I think football itself as a game, football itself as a training, as an art, as a craft, teaches you a lot of stuff like discipline. I think years back I never really wanted to really study anything else, but then I looked at myself and I said, who do I want to be? So I decided to take up studying, other things. But then the advantage of having, gone through other things is, me doing a business course, I can not only bring the tactical side of the game, I can also bring the business side of the game, which I think we need to develop in Zambian football, is because most of our clubs are mostly running on grants, social welfare and all that stuff. So having learnt Bachelors of Business Administration, having been in a lot of scenarios where I have to look at certain business decisions, I think it will help me bring a different dynamic to the game as well. And business administration in itself is a course about leadership. That's the most important thing. So leadership is something that on the business side applies and on the football side applies. So it's something that helps as well.
Is it time for young coaches? Because talking about the dynamics involved in football, here's a scenario. You are a young coach. You come in a squad. The average age of the squad is obviously maybe above your own age. How do you handle that situation? Is the dynamics allowing for a club, let's say in the Super League or in the National League, to allow management to take a gamble on a young coach and say, here we are, we want you to win trophies, we want you to make us go to continental championships?
Well, it's a very difficult dynamic, first of all, to go into a dressing room that is full of people that are older than you, But then the first thing that you have to do is command respect. And the second thing is you have to sell your idea to the players. You have to sell your idea to the board. I think I'm one of those people that would straight away walk into a club and give, the board 100-page, book or 100-page pamphlet of my philosophy of what I want to do with each player I found at that club, of the type of players I want to sign, the type of academy I want at the club. So just by me coming with such approach, I have to demand the respect from everybody, because then respect is the most important thing in football. If a player respects you, then definitely they are going to want to buy into your idea. Or when they respect you, you sell them your idea. It's simple for them to understand. So it's all about commanding respect. And the fortunate part is I've been in coaching both at a young age, when I was really young, like 14, and recently in my university school team where I coached a lot of people that were older than me. And the good part about Zambian players is when they know you have the knowledge, they're always willing to learn. So when you come to them and you explain to them, and once they start to believe in you, they are the type of people that can die for you. They're the type of people that can sweat in the pitch for you because they believe in your idea. So it's just about you demanding respect and selling your ideas to the players.
Selling your ideas to the players, it is. Now, here's the thing. There's a product on the market. For example, there's a new Mercedes Benz on the market. Everyone wants to ride that Benz. But there's also someone who says an old Benz is very good and has good experience on the road and all that. is it like on the field of play? We've seen, I'm sure you've heard this, where saying no, the style of play is no longer attractive. What do these players train Monday to Friday? We're just seeing players running around a lot in the pitch. Do you think the fact that players are running way too much than touching the ball really affecting? Actually, do these players run way too much than they need?
Yes, they run too much. But then a few years back, I was talking to one of the big coaches in the Zambian league. I won't mention their name. Then he said to me, the problem that we have with a lot of our players in the Zambian league is the lack of them being professional. So these are the players that you give them hours to sleep and they decide to go and do their own stuff, which in turn affects, you know, how you want your players to shape up physically, because we both know that, you know, when you sleep is the time that your body gets to now feel the full impact of the training session. Is when your body gets to, you know, grow and all that stuff. So most of our players don't rest, hence them going to do other things forces them to run, you know, coaches to plan sessions of them running. So it's a very difficult dynamic. But then yes, our players are running a lot, because the most important thing about the game of football,
we would say it's mostly because of the circumstances on the ground.
Yes, circumstances on the ground is that if I have a squad full of professional players, my players would not run as much. The most important thing is running with the ball, because what's the main essence of the game and what's the main principle of my philosophy? My philosophy is to play the ball, to protect the ball, to withhold the ball. The ball is a treasure that we need to protect, and we need to take it to the other side of our opponents.
You watch a lot of sports disciplines, right?
Yes.
Sports is sports, but how have they shaped up your philosophy? Firstly, how is it really important for a coach to have a philosophy for a side, and how have these sports disciplines fit in your philosophy as well?
Well, first, the most important part of the philosophy is your identity. I think when you have identity, you have something to fight for. The players have something to fight for. It's your DNA. Even as Zambians, just the identity of being a Zambian gives you something to fight for. It gives you pride. So that's what a philosophy is. A philosophy is supposed to be a pride of a player. It's supposed to be a pride of a coach. It's easier to go out there and play a game of football if you have a philosophy, because then your players, when they're on the pitch, know what to do. Your players are going to be in the right mental state, in the right emotional, in the right emotional state as well. So that's the most important part of philosophy. Coming to watching other sports disciplines, I watch a lot of basketball, rugby as well, and from basketball, I think watching Kobe Bryant, listening to him talk, mostly it's about mentality. I think basketball is a highly, first of all, physical game, but it's also a highly mental game, because those guys run for a number of minutes non-stop.
Very intense, actually.
Yes, run for a number of minutes non-stop. So from the mentality side is what I've learned from basketball, specifically Kobe Bryant and LeBron James as well, just the amount of work
to stop
they
you
put
right
in.
there. Talking about the running part, right?
Yes.
Would you be comfortable getting your team and taking them to a basketball court and talk to a basketball coach and tell them, for my running exercise today, I want you to give them your running exercise?
Yes, I will. Definitely. The growth is the most important thing. Growth and innovation. That's the most important thing about everything that you need to do as a leader. Sometimes hanging around the same environment, it disturbs you, mentally and all that stuff. And sometimes you just need the new environment for you to, embrace new ideas, for your mind to be at a high concentrational level. So I'll take my players definitely to, them to have a workout.
Okay. Now we'll go for a short break and catch us back as we continue. Okay, we are back, and we're with the super coach as we're talking about football dynamics, and as well as the facts that are gone through as being a young coach and how you develop. So, coach, we're talking about sports philosophy here and other sports discipline. So I feel we share almost the same interest when you talk about American football. The great Tom Brady, almost retiring now. He's almost 45, and everyone talks about him almost every day. What do you think most football players in Zambia can't reach up to 45? Because we've only had James Chamanga running up his socks to this time. We've had Joseph Musonda in the past. So where do we fail in continuation plan?
First of all, it gets down to you as a player. You know, the most important thing that has made Tony Brady who he is how he's managed to take care of himself. Not only the body, but the mental side of the game. That's watching Brady is like watching somebody that is in his head. You know what I'm saying? It's because his mentality is what makes him who he is. And that's the most important thing. Most of our players have, they believe that when they get to 30, 35, they cannot play anymore. You can play. What matters is you just need to adopt your game to what your physical capability cannot manage and have the same mental strength, have a strong mental strength. This is why Cristiano Ronaldo is still playing football, because it's about his mental strength.
Talking about mental strength and all that, player management, coaching management, philosophies and all that, how much of an impact would this be if, for example, the government Republic of Zambia or FAZ took up an initiative, or any individual out there took up an initiative of opening a soccer school or a coaching school? Because we already have academies dotted around the countries, but most of them are not really running as academies. How much of an impact would it be to having a coaching school or a soccer school just basically made for football, like the way we have the coaching, the soccer school for France, the Fontaine, the Claire Fontaine Foundation, the academy there? So how much would it be in the long run for Zambian football?
I think it would benefit Zambian football a lot. I think having, first of all, a coaching school is the most important thing. I think we all talk about how we want to move forward in terms of Zambian football, but then moving forward in Zambian football does not only need to be about developing the elite player, develop the elite coach, because when you develop an elite coach and send him out there into the community, into the clubs, a coach with the right mentality, a coach with the right mindset, he's going to give you more than you need, because he's not only going to produce a player that can play football, but he's also going to produce a player that's willing to be a leader, a player that's going to have the right mindset. So the most important thing is form a coaching school or build a coaching school, which I hear FAZ is about to do. That's the most important thing. Form that coaching school, educate coaches, not minimal education, educate them to a point where these are going to be top elite individuals, and from there take them out to the community, let them.
So where do you get your education? This is the education. This, we don't have the coaching school, we don't have any soccer schools around. How do you get your stuff? How do you work around to make yourself fresh every day, to get new ideas every day, so that you can be above the rest, to be on the top of the pyramid?
I would really thank a lot of people. First of all, I think everyone around me, after understanding my love for the game, have really come to the party. I talk to a lot of people online, a lot of agents that have given me numbers of coaches outside the country. I know there's a very good coach in Europe. His name is Christian Efron. I think he has a UEFA Pro. There's another coach, he's a Portuguese, Coach Pedro. I talk to him as well. He gives me, a lot of things I need to learn. In coming back to Zambia, my very best two coaches, not actually two. Let me just say 5 coaches. Coach Franklin Malambo, I learn a lot from him. It's like on a daily basis. Every time he sends a 10-minute, 20-minute VN. Let me just say 10 minutes VN. I think that's the longest he's ever sent. Yeah, 10 minutes VN. It's always educative. Coach Chilekwa, Vincent Chilekwa, in the Copper Belt as well. He's the type of guy that calls me to go to his house and we just sit and just have a talk of football. Coach Buton Msonda as well has taught me a number of things that I like. The value itself just makes me, just feel so happy. Coach Anderson Piri, with him, it's an everyday thing. It's every time I have a conversation with him, he always teach me one thing. He always tells me, son, this is this, this is that. If you want to be, when you get to the dressing room, this is what you need to do. These are the dynamics of football. So there are a lot of people that have made me who I am. Apart from even these people that are football people, I have other people. My very own sister Patricia Mulenga calls me every time to ask me what football books I want to read, and she goes ahead and purchases books that I want to read, either be on football, be on leadership, be on business. So a lot of people have come into the play into creating who I am. So I really can't attribute it to really one person.
It's a collective.
Yeah, it's a collective. Yeah, it's like everyone just comes on and gives me things. Other people give me books, other people give me videos, other people give me live lessons. So I'm always learning from everyone. Every time I learn, I get what I have to learn. I go back to my books and I sit down and I ask myself a question: is how can I develop this that I've learned from everybody else? And from there, I begin to create my ideas. I begin to update my game model. I begin to update my philosophy and all that stuff.
Talking about coaching stuff, there's an issue of technology that has come into place, and there's a bit of a variance in the way coaching was done long ago and now. How, being a young modern coach, how do you think you can incorporate technology? Of course, we know there's an issue of video analysis, there's an issue of employing analysts to observe games for you. How big should your coaching staff be? We've seen Sundowns having 3 coaches, and we've seen a backroom staff with maybe 4-5 assistants. Others are just made for defensive, others what for. So how do you think a coaching staff should be, and how effective would that be for you?
A coaching staff needs to be very, very big. I think for me personally, I think a video analyst would be needed. A physical trainer, of course, but I think a maximum of maybe, for me, I think right now, I think I'll need maybe 6-7, and maybe an 8th one. Why I say an 8th one is because I want somebody that's like me, that wants to do this, but nobody in the world wants to give them a chance. I want them to come so that I give them that spot. But coming back to your question, I think a video analysis is very important, first of all. Secondly, every training session that we have, we need to have drones or something that's going to take that footage, so that every time we have a training session, we need to have feedback the next day, or we need to have feedback the same day. We need to discuss with my coaching staff, what can we do better, or how can this player improve? How can we design specific personal drills for this player to improve this skill set? Or if we're planning for the next game, this is the zone our opponents are really weak in. What player can we put in that area that can, operate in that area to do some damage?
Talking in that line, I'm sure you follow so much of American football. Great Tom Brady. I'm sure you've noticed that that game has a lot of rules. They have a lot of playbooks where they've drawn up specific plays, specific drills. Do you think that is possible in football, to have each player go home with a pamphlet on drills, specific plays, set pieces, and everything? How much of an impact would it be, and is it really vital?
It's very, very vital. I think that's the future of football. There's something I recently called the build-up counter-attack. I don't know if that makes sense, but then for me, I believe just us touching the ball from behind is a chance. It's 100% a chance. Us building up from the back is a chance, because if I design certain passing patterns, or if I design certain combinations from our build-up, it can be like a play. We start from the back. Our players that are in the front are moving this way. Some are distracting the opposition defenders by moving different directions. The one that is supposed to meet the ball at a certain direction is maybe on the other side of the pitch. He's finding his way to the other side of the pitch. So it's very, very important. I think the future of football is going to be that, not only in the build-up, but in set pieces as well. Set pieces are, you need designed plays. I think I want to get to a point where when I'm coaching a club and we're in the 70th minute and we have a free kick in a certain zone, I'll be able to just say something to my players like, oh, this and that, or maybe I'll, something that would be like a play. Maybe in our book, we'll call it the blue arrow. It's the 70th minute, and I simply scream to my players, blue arrow, and they know exactly what to do. So such things are important.
We've seen that in basketball. We've seen that in American football as well, where they coordinate using numbers, code names, like more like the army as well.
Yes.
So many people say that would take away the unpredictability of football, but do you think it also acts as a surprise for opponents and also as well of countering?
First of all, it cannot take away the the game being unpredictable. The game is a complex game. It's never linear. It's complex. It changes. But then set pieces, the main essence, I said, a play is something that's creative. I think these people don't have the same plays over and over. They are creative.
Right now we have this problem. I think you've realized that Zambia national team, almost every club in the Super League, struggle to score set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks in opposition half, taking advantage of them, because it's not every time you always win, you always score from open play, especially in big tournaments. We've seen it at the Africa Cup. So what's really causing most of these teams in Zambia and the national team as well to get this? Do you think it's an issue of not practicing, not having plays read up already in the mind?
Yeah, it is. Sometimes I think clubs practice set plays, they practice, but then it's not as detailed as you want the practice to be. It's not as detailed as you want the practice to be. So we need to plan set piece to everything, to the smallest detail, whereby movement alone is very, very important in such an area. Most of our set pieces in the Zambian league, we know. They even know when defending. No defender immediately pachipanda. It's something. It's traditional.
So it's like, it will end up in an offside, or
yes,
someone will just kick it above the bar.
Yes. So it's very predictable. But then the main essence of having set plays is creative. You need to keep the opposition guessing. So when you have those, the opposition is always going to be wondering what are they going to do next, and you definitely get goals from that.
Lastly, we're going to talk about the physicality side of the sport. I've heard so many times, so many coaches saying, I need a tall anchorman, I need a tall goalkeeper. Do you think that is part of a discriminatory remark, or it's just a requirement that is needed in this particular position, or it's just a preference of that coach?
It's a preference of that coach. The Spanish team have done it with short defensive midfielders. Fernandinho, I don't think is a really top player, but Pep Guardiola used him for a lot of years. Personally, I think what matters is what does the player have to offer in terms of his ability as a defensive midfielder. N'Golo Kante is one of the best defensive midfielders, and he's not.
So it's
not
what
tall.
It's what they make out for in what they lack in the other angle, right?
Yes. Who are there as a person? First of all, mentality is a very important thing. Apart from that, their footballing ability. Is he able to pass the ball? How does he position himself? All those things are very, very important.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Considering the fact that I'll put you on the spot, right? We have this norm of saying, I need a tall goalkeeper because he will help me in this and this and this. I need an anchorman, he help me this and this and this. But do you think that's old-fashioned now? This is modern football. Football is played on the ground. There is intelligence involved.
Yeah, football is played on the ground. It's not played on based who's tall, who's short. Football is played, first of all, with the head and with the feet. So as long as the player is very good, their decision making is on point, and their feet can do the rest of the job, which is, pass, and do all these things. If he's a goalkeeper, if he can dive and keep the ball out of the net, then he's qualified. Physical ability, in terms of height, what God gave us does not matter. It does not. Everything else we can work on the training pitch, in strength, speed, those things we can work on, but height, no.
Okay. Anyway, thank you very much, Coach, and it's been very insightful for the information that we've shared here, and of course, wishing you all the best, and hopefully for you as a super coach, you'll be in the Super League. I'm sure that's where you belong, and
very soon. The target is not only to get to the Super League. I think I'll continue saying this. The target is to be a World Cup winning coach, and this is something that we're recording right here in 2022, and very soon. It's not even a long time. I want everybody to know right now that I'm going to be the best coach in the world, not only in Africa, in the world. I'm going to take an African team to the World Cup and win the World Cup. That's what I was born to do. That's what I'm struggling for. That's what I'm working for every single day. Better in myself as a person, as a human being. Better in myself as a coach to do that. So that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do.